Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Suny Brockport's annual Student Leadership Conference. My name is Cadence Lopez. I'm a senior double majoring in English Creative Writing and Women and Gender Studies here at Brockport.
And my name is Victoria Ampofo. I am a freshman majoring in neuroscience here at Suny Brockport. We are your MC for the morning session, and we were selected because of our commitment in developing our leadership.
Outside of the classroom, I'm deeply involved on campus. I serve as the president of Delta Phi Epsilon, a Panhellenic sorority, sit on the presidential search committee, and work as a student union manager here in the union. I've also had the opportunity to collaborate with departments across the Division of Student Affairs, including the Joey Jackson Intercultural Center, the Center for Gender and Sexual Diversity, and Fraternity and Sorority Life.
I moved from Ghana to the Bronx when I was 13. I remember I felt very insecure about my accent when I arrived. But then I decided to speak up more because I realized that's who I am. So I decided to get super involved in high school, from creating hydroponic garden to being on a student government for 2 years straight with unanimous vote, and to get an internship in my school for 4 years straight.
Leadership looks different for everyone in this room. For some of us, it's about stepping into new roles on campus. For others, it's committing to growth, like completing the Leadership Development Program. But sometimes, leadership shows up in moments when nobody expects it, especially from young people. When we think about young leaders, we don't always think about 15-year-olds changing history. But Claudette Colvin did exactly that. At just 15 years old, before Rosa Parks, she refused to give up her seat on a segregated bus in Montgomery, Alabama. She wasn't trying to become a symbol. She wasn't waiting to feel ready. She simply knew something was wrong. And she acted. Her courage became part of that legal foundation that helped dismantle bus segregation. Claudette reminds us that leadership doesn't require age, title, or permission. Sometimes it just requires conviction.
Facts. What a powerful story to keep in mind as we wind down Black History Month. We are really excited that this day has finally arrived, as we've been hard at work preparing a great lineup for you all. Before we continue, I have a little surprise for you all. Whoever participates the most will get a prize. There are a lot of students here from outside Suny Brockport here today. Brockport students, join us as we give a golden welcome for our guest. If you're here from U of R, please make some noise. Okay. Ooh, I don't know about that. If you're here from RIT, make some noise. All right. If you're here from UB, make some noise. All right, you love that. If you're here from Nazareth, also make some noise. Oh, okay. We even have high schoolers from Teen Empowerment here today. Please make some, right. I don't know.
Man, I don't know. I think we have a tiebreaker between UB and Teen Empowerment. Can we see who can get the loudest?
So UB, make some noise. All right.
Teen Empowerment, make some noise.
Oh.
Oh.
I think UB won.
I think it was a good tie.
Some FYIs, the bathroom are located outside the ballroom to the left. Please continue to help yourself to breakfast this morning and take some snacks with you as you go to your breakout rooms. There are fidget items and art and craft items outside the ballroom, so please help yourself. Also, feel free to decorate your badge with the markers on your table.
Before we officially begin, I want to take a moment to recognize and thank the people and departments who made today possible. This conference truly reflects a collaborative effort across campus. We're incredibly grateful for the support of the Office of Equity, Diversion, and Inclusion, the Academic Success Center, Residential Life, and the Center for Excellence in Learning. The Division of Student Affairs has also been a major sponsor of this event. Speaking of, we are honored to have the Vice President of Student Affairs, Dr. Lorraine Acker, with us this morning to provide opening remarks.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, y'all can do better than that. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. That's better. I'm so excited to join you all this morning, but before I begin, I want to acknowledge a couple of my, one of my colleagues and my wonderful supervisor, Dr. Heidi McPherson in the back, and Dean Dave Bagley, who are great supporters of the leadership program. One of the things we strive to do at Brockport is to work with our student leaders to develop them after they leave. So we're super excited that we have so many students in the room. I was telling the group that I was sitting by, post-COVID, we had about 60 students attending the leadership conference, and now here we have over 150 students today. So I'm super excited about the attendance, and I look forward to engaging with some of you today. But as I think about some of the things I wanted to share this morning, I first want to thank Carly Fox, the entire conference committee, Sula, and the rest of the team who've worked tirelessly to put this amazing program together. Their commitment to engage in elevating student leadership on this campus is a living example of exactly what we are doing today. The theme of our conference is Young Leaders Changing the World. Doing the work in a changing world, right? So to our Brockport students, again, welcome. To our guests from other institutions, again, thank you so much. Our invited presenters and community members, thank you again for joining us today. Your presence is a reminder that leadership does not exist in isolation. It is built in community, across difference, and through connections. So, young leaders in a changing world. Let's sit with that for a moment, because those 5 words carry weight. We are living through a period of profound disruption. Our world is in a bit of conflict. Civility feels increasingly rare. Human decency is being tested in ways that are deeply troubling. Communities are being torn apart politically, socially, and culturally. Truth and integrity are challenged daily. And for many of us, if we are honest, the light at the end of the tunnel sometimes feels a bit dim. So what does that mean to be a young leader in this changing world? Not the world we wish we had, not the world we are working towards, but this world, right now, in this moment. I want to share with you an experience that has helped answer some of these questions for me in the last couple of days. So I had the privilege on, I think, Thursday, to attend the annual Martin Luther King Jr. lecture, where scholar, author, and cultural critic Brittany Cooper delivered a message that I haven't stopped thinking about. So as I prepared my remarks today, I kept returning to the words because I believe that they speak directly to the heart of the theme of the conference. Dr. Cooper spoke about love, not romantic love, not love as a sentiment of softness, but love as a framework, a radical, intentional, transformative framework for building what Dr. King called a beloved community. She named something that many but rarely say aloud, that we have become a society where humanity, human decency, and basic kindness are increasingly absent, that we have mastered the art of separating ourselves from one another, by ideology, by identity, by fear, and oftentimes by technology, rather than cultivating the organic human spaces where real community is born. She said that at the core of every single one of us, we want to be loved. And being loved, truly loved, meant being seen, heard, nurtured, and held. That is not a personal preference, but a universal human need. And when we strip away from our communities, from our institutions, and from public life, we don't just lose kindness, we lose each other. Now, what does that have to do with young leaders in a changing world? Because here is what I know about leadership. Leadership is not a title, it's not a position, it is not something that is granted to you when the world settles down, or when the politics calm down, when things feel safe and stable, right? Leadership, as you heard earlier, is action. And it's most urgently needed precisely when the world is most unsettled. Young leaders in a changing world do not wait for permission to build community. Dr. Cooper challenged us directly on this point. She said, stop waiting for someone or something to tell you it's okay to connect, to care, to show up for one another. Build community now. Build it here. Build it today in this room. Young leaders in a changing world are not afraid of discomfort. In fact, they lean into it. Dr. Cooper reminded us that the uncomfortable spaces, the ones that push us beyond the familiar, that challenges our assumption, that require us to sit with complexity, that is precisely where learning and growth flourishes. So if you're uncomfortable today, good, right? So stay in there a little bit longer. As young leaders in a changing world, that world should be rooted in love, right? Not as an abstract idea, but as a daily practice. It means choosing to see the humanity in people, even when it's hard. It means creating spaces where others feel heard. It means having the courage to hold our community together, even when things around you is pulling you apart. And at that end, I want to offer these words for some who scholarship deeply shaped my own thinking, right? I consider myself a Black feminist scholar practitioner, so I read a lot. And Bell Hooks is one of those folks who I truly admire. She says, to be truly visionary, we have to root our imagination in our concrete reality while simultaneously imagining possibilities beyond that reality. That is the tension that young leaders must learn to hold. Be honest about the world as it is. Yes, we are in conflict. There's failures, and it's challenging. But don't look away from that reality. You must simultaneously dare to imagine and work towards something better. That tension is not a burden, right? It is the very engine that transforms leadership. So Dr. Cooper, in her closing remarks, she was asking us about faith, not blind faith, not passive faith, but this active faith, working faith, a belief that there will be better days and better possibilities, and a commitment to preparing ourselves to meet them. I carry that faith when I look across the room this morning, right? I am continuously inspired by students who choose, despite all of it, to invest in themselves, to invest in each other and their community. The students who show up not because the world has made it easy, but because they believe it could be better. You're not waiting for the world to change, but you are actively changing it. That is what young leadership looks like in a changing world. Today, you will engage in some interactive workshops, hear from campus and community partners who are doing meaningful, grounded work in leadership, and have the opportunity to build the kind of cross-institutional connections that sustain leaders for the long haul, right? The day is designed to give you a taste of professional conference culture, right? Because your development as a leader is not something that begins after graduation. It happens right now, and it's happening in this room. So I encourage you this morning, throughout the day, to be present, to be curious, be generous with each other, lean into the uncomfortable conversations, build community today without asking permission. You are young leaders. This world is changing, and you are exactly where you need to be. So thank you for your time this morning, and let's get ready to work. And now we'll have Cadence, and I can't say your name. Tell me your name again. Victoria, Cadence and Victoria. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Dr. Acker, for your words of wisdom. The Brockport Student Government is another major support for this conference. Here today, represent them and introduce our keynote speaker is BSG President Shivani Regmi. Welcome, Shivani. Oh.
Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to be here with you today. Thank you for showing up. This is my third annual leadership conference at Brockport. I attended my first conference as a student and then as a SULA employee, and now as your BSU president. Each year, I have watched this conference expand, with more students stepping up, showing up, and taking ownership of their leadership journey. BSG is proud to support a conference that brings together students, community members, to learn from one another and build the skills that shape our campus and our community. Leadership and empowerment are at the core of Brockport student government, and we are committed to help make this event possible year after year. I am honored to introduce our keynote speakers, two leaders whose vision and commitment are shaping what young leadership looks like in a changing world. Gerard Brown is a servant leader, community advocate, and organizational strategist whose work is shaped by lived experience and intentional leadership. His contribution reflects a deep commitment to advocating Black leadership, empowering youth, and building communities rooted in dignity, equity, and hope. Brown has made a profound impact through his work with teen empowerment. He continues to break new ground as the youngest senior pastor in the history of Holy Trinity Baptist Church in Rochester. Naziah Edmond is an artist shaped by music, poetry, and purpose. She is a young leader whose creativity and conviction reflect the voice of a new generation. Through her work with youth empowerment, she blends poetry and activism, using her words to challenge, uplift, and spark dialogue in a world that is constantly evolving. For Naziah, art is not just a passion, it is power. Please join me in welcoming Gerard Brown and Naziah Edmond.
She's gonna start also. Oh, I'm starting? Yeah. Hi, everybody. I did not arrive here at Teen Empowerment with a resume in my hand. I arrived because my best friend said come. So I came. Sat in the back of a room that hummed with something that I couldn't name yet. I heard voices stretching past fear, parents leaning into pride, words trembling but refusing to fall. Parent night. That was the night I felt it. Not a program or an after-school space, but a pulse. A place where young people weren't asked to shrink. A place where truth took up space. And by July 2024, I stopped visiting and I started building. On the north side, my north side. Driving Park and Thorn stitched into my memory and Dewey moving like a timeline of who I used to be. I grew up on these streets, and now I return not as a child of them, but as a voice. And I learned something here, that my poetry is not soft, it is a door, and it is a mirror. It is a match struck in a dark room, and I learned that I love the work. I love the work that asks hard questions, and the work that shakes tables without flipping them, the work that says we deserve better and means it. Teen empowerment. It gave me more than a title. It gave me people who stopped feeling like coworkers and started feeling like home. For a year, we stood side by side, creating, arguing, laughing too loud, holding each other up, and on the days the weight felt heavier, family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's shared purpose. Sometimes it's, are you okay? And meaning it. This place is community in motion. It is young voices learning that they are not echoes. It is coming back to your block and deciding that you are not just from there, you are for here. I walked in because someone invited me, and I stayed because I saw myself in the reflection, rising, of everyone we empower, and somewhere between Driving Park and a circle of youth finding their voice, I found mine.
Yeah. Can we give Nizzy a big hand? She's like, do I walk off now? Good morning, everybody. Y'all still sleep. It's time to wake up. I am Gerard Brown. I am the Office and Facilities Manager from Teen Empowerment. And that introduction that they gave, I was like, is she talking about me? That sounded really good. I don't know how much truth that was, but thank you for telling everyone. I'll pay you after. Thank you so much. Just a little bit about me. I am the youngest pastor of Holy Trinity Baptist Church. One part that most people miss out is the missionary part. You got to say missionary because that means it's real old school, real antiquated, old songs, things of that nature. And so that's in the city of Rochester. I've been doing this for about 16 years now, but I'm not limited to that. I love community work. I love people from all walks of life. I have been involved in community. I am a triplet, and so I have an identical twin brother. And I have a twin sister who doesn't look anything like us. My wife looks more like me than my twin sister, so it's pretty funny. But also, I've been married 20 years. I have two beautiful daughters. I know you guys are thinking 20 years, this guy is old. No, I got married at 19, very young. I don't suggest it, don't recommend it, don't do it. But I did it anyhow, and we made it through. And so we have a 17-year-old and a 16-year-old. I think that's all you need to know. Is that good? Okay, clap for me. Thank you. Now we're going to get right into it. Do me a favor. Will you look at the person next to you and say, what's up? Now look at the other table and say, hey, y'all. We are going to be a family for the next few moments. Is that okay? I want us to be a family. Now, this is my first time doing a keynote that has nothing to do with my faith per se, more so my community work. And so am I nervous? Absolutely. You did a wonderful job as you went forth, and I'm just like, I hope I can have the ease she has into this, because I got notes and things of that nature. But before we do that, I wanted to know if you all would join me in a quick game. Can you do that? Now, I know you guys love games. I know the last game we had, there were prizes. I just want you all to know you didn't do a good job on that last game. Nobody really made the noise that I thought they should. But maybe we can all win on this game. And so there are no losers here. There's only winners, okay? Tell yourself, I'm a winner today. All right, stand up, everybody. Stand up. Stand up, stand up. Shake it off. Yes, yes. I see everyone getting up. They're straightening their clothes, pulling their shirts down, getting their wiggles out. Sounds good, exciting. Now, anybody remember the game Simon Says? Yeah, that's a great game. I'm going to come up here so I can see you all. Now, the game Simon Says is every time the leader tells you to do something, you do what Simon tells you to do. Now, if they don't say Simon, then you don't do what Simon says, right? Because I didn't say Simon, so you don't do what the other person tells you to do. Right? Well, today I'm going to be the homie. Simon is actually homie. And so it's going to be homie says, and then you're going to do whatever the homie says. Can you do that today? All right. And it's going to be a short game. It's just to kind of get us free, get us kind of open. Again, there are no losers. I'm not going to say, okay, you sit down, you sit down. We're all winners, but we just want to get loose. And so let's start off with the homie says wave. The homie says put your hand down. The homie says stretch. The homie says stop stretching. The homie says turn in one circle. The homie says stop. Good. Well, I didn't have to say stop because I said one circle. So if you kept going, the homie didn't tell you to keep going. I saw you. Right? The homie says clap your hands once. The homie says smile. The homie says cross your arms. The homie says feel proud. The homie says feel sad. The homie says, feel calm. The homie says, feel calm about injustice. The homie says, be quiet about racism. The homie says, feel okay about ICE. Take your seats. The homie says, game over. How does it feel to be told how to feel? Bad. If I didn't feel happy in the moment, but you told me to feel happy, that's kind of weird. You told me to feel proud, but what if I didn't feel proud in that moment? That's kind of awkward. Well, that's how it feels to be told how to feel. That's what has been done for many centuries and years. That's what it's been done in my life. Oftentimes we're told, be grateful, things will get better. Be grateful, things are better than they used to be. Don't make it about race all the time. It's not that bad. It's just how things are. It's just the market. Empowerment begins when someone is allowed to name what they see and act on it. That's what it means to go beyond service. Service is necessary, but it's not justice. And that's where I want to take us. I want to take us from mere service to actually justice. My first introduction to teen empowerment was awkward. I've only been there for a couple months at the time. I've been there for about 2 years now. But a couple months in, I get a phone call, and the phone call is someone who wants to know about teen empowerment. And so me being the office and facilities manager, a little prideful in my role, just 2 months in, answered the phone. I answered the phone. Hello. Thank you for calling Teen Empowerment. My name is Gerard. May I please have your first and your last name? They give me their first and their last name, and they're like, I want information about teen empowerment. Well, I feel empowered because the director of programs is in the room, and the executive director of the whole ship is in the room as well. And so I am going to share with them what we do. And the first thing I say is, well, we are a people that provide a service to our young people. And we make sure we give them space to grow and learn, and we want them to know that we are there for them. And I'm looking across the room at the program director, and she is cringing. She's like, ooh, no. But I'm on this phone call. Don't embarrass me. Let me finish the phone call first. We end the phone call, and she says, Gerard, we are not a service. I said, you're not? We're not? No. We pay young people. We don't think they need us. We need them. We're not here to fix them because they are not merely broken. They need the space to be who they are. We don't do volunteerism. We pay them to come up with solutions. And from that moment, I realized that my image of young people, my image of the community that I came from was skewed. Because I have been working for a white company for the last 9 years of my life who told me I mattered, but the minute I brought DEI to them, they fired me. I was at the top of the pole. I went from coming in as a technical support person, fixing computers, don't know how I got that job because I hate computers. I went in and I was just like, I want to come in and I want to be your tech support person. And they gave me a test. And the manager at that time said, Gerard, you failed the test. You got nothing right on this. Why should we hire you? I said, well, I'm a clean slate. I don't know anything. Whatever you teach me, I'll know for the rest of my life. They brought me in, but they brought me in under the guise that we are going to teach him. So for 8 years, I climbed the ladder. I went from tech support to a training support specialist to a training manager. And then they were like, you know what? You're really good at this training manager stuff. We're going to put you in the HR. And so I became a human resource ambassador, which they made up just to put me in there. And then I went to a training in Savannah, and they taught me about DEI and what inclusion looks like, and how not just for African Americans, but for the LGBTQ and the brown people, how we need to create space where they feel safe. And so I went back to the job. I'm not going to name any names because I signed an NDA. because they gave me a nice severance. All right? I said, hey, I got it now. We can put this in place. This is DEI. Matter of fact, we have a trans female here that we can honor, and we can make sure they feel safe and supported. Let's do it. And they were like, no, we sent you to the training, but we're not ready for anything like that right now. Oh, well, why did you spend all this money to put me in the training? Well, because you wanted to go. It was like hush money. I said, oh, okay, I'll be quiet. After that, they pulled me into the office. They pulled me in, and they're like, Gerard, we think your calling is higher than this place. My calling is higher than $40 an hour? I don't think so. I'm called right here. Nice try, right? Yeah, we think this is too small for you, and we want you to go on to do something bigger and something better. And we just think you should go out and we're going to give you this, and you just go do whatever it is you want to do. I realized I was not working in a justice place. I was not working in a place that valued who I was or the community that they were calling in. Service is necessary, but it's not justice. Service feeds people. Justice asks why certain neighborhoods remain food deserts, even in 2026. Service will tutor students. Justice asks why school funding disparities persist along racial and economic lines. And here is the truth. If a system consistently produces unequal outcomes along racial lines, it is not neutral. We can't sit here and talk about systemic change without naming what it is: systemic racism. Not just individual prejudice, not just bad actors, but systems that were designed by policy, practice, and power to advantage some while excluding others. Today, we are going to lean in to the uncomfortable. Can we do it? Are you guys good so far? All right, let's keep going. Schools are not failing accidentally. Communities are not over-policed randomly. Wealth gaps are not natural. These outcomes are predictable because the systems are working exactly as they were built to work. And when young people notice this, they don't need to be told, calm down, it's okay. It'll get better. Just go to school, just be quiet. They don't need that. They need to be told the truth. Systemic racism is not just about interpersonal bias. It is when policies and systems create predictable disparities. For example, schools in predominantly non-white districts receive about $23 billion less in funding nationwide each year compared to predominantly white districts, despite serving the same number of students. That gap is not just about effort, it's not about structure, right? Let's talk about wealth. According to the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances, the median white family holds nearly 6 times the wealth of the median black family. That gap is not an accident. You know what it reflects? Redlining, discriminatory lending, unequal access to home ownership, generational asset accumulation. These are systematic. These are structural. And naming them is not divisive. It's responsible. Let's talk about health real quick. According to the CDC, black women in the United States are approximately 2.6 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women. Not because of genetics, not because of effort, but because of access, bias in healthcare systems, and structural inequities. Can I keep going? Y'all nervous yet? Let's talk about criminal justice. Though black Americans make up about 13% of the US population, they account for roughly 33% of the incarcerated population. That's a pattern. And patterns matter. When disparities are consistent across education, wealth, health, and incarceration, we are no longer talking about coincidence, we're talking about systems. And this is where the work of teen empowerment matters most. This is where we are deeply involved. Teen Empowerment's mission is not simply to serve youth, but to equip young people with the skills, confidence, and civic capacity to create systemic change. Its praxis include teaching young people to analyze the systems, developing facilitation and public speaking skills, practicing trauma-informed leadership, engaging policymakers and community stakeholders, turning critiques into structured proposals. Young people are not trained to just react. They are trained to understand power, navigate power, and influence power. And watch this. There is a difference between giving youth a microphone and then giving them influence. We live in a time where youth voices are often celebrated but rarely trusted. Young people are invited to share their stories but not shape outcomes. At Teen Empowerment, youth voice is not symbolic, it's strategic. Young people are trained to do this. They are trained to speak with clarity, facilitate difficult conversations, address leaders and institutions, influence policy and practice. They also combine art and activism. Artivism. You ever heard that term? Me either. Not until I joined TE. They mix music, poetry, dancing, writing, that's the art, with their truth. Violence, rape, neglect, racism. They put them together and they say, now let's do something about it. Artivism. This is the shift from tell your story to use your story to move systems that is real. That's what empowerment looks like. That's systemic leadership. Many of you here care deeply about justice. I believe it. Do you care? Are we in here? All right, let's clap once. See, all of you are out. Homie didn't say clap once. Jeez Louise. But I did end the game, so you did it. Right? Many of you care about it. That matters. But here is the stretch. Are you ready to stretch? Allyship that stops at empathy doesn't change systems. Empathy is a starting point, but accountability is the next step. Teen Empowerment teaches our young leaders and the adult partners that partnership means sharing access, sharing influence, sharing decision-making, and staying present when the work is uncomfortable. Lilla Watson and a collective of indigenous activists quoted this. They say, don't come save me. Come work alongside me because your liberation is tied up with mine. That quote challenges something. It challenges saviorism. If I could just give you all what that means, because I'm like this other preacher in another life. Saviorism is the desire to come and save you. What if she don't want to be saved? Do you guys know that term? No? Okay. I thought young people would know that. Never mind. That fell flat. That did not work out. It's come save them, but what if we don't want to be saved? What if there's nothing wrong with us? Maybe there's something wrong with you. Pure example, there is a guy at our church who has cerebral palsy. He has been in a wheelchair bound since he was born. My twin brother was his aide years ago. And now he is a grown man, but he is still in this wheelchair. And in the charismatic movement, we always want to see a miracle. We always want them to get up out that wheelchair, and we want them to walk. Well, he's joined our church about 5 years ago, and I noticed people are always trying to pray for him. Finally, because I am the pastor I got in the microphone and I said, stop wishing he would walk. There's nothing wrong with him. There's something wrong with us, that we can't find value in him even though he's in a wheelchair. That's what that means. It means not seeing that you are needy or that we need to save you, but valuing what you have to offer. Because even in the wheelchair, even when we can't understand his speech, he is still the smartest one in the room. He is still fully intelligent. He has gifts that are beyond imagination. And what we need to learn is how to create space from people who don't look like us, walk like us, talk like us, or dress like us. Are you an ally? Have you shared your influence? Are you staying present even when the moment is uncomfortable? In TE, we don't just operate from these kids need to be fixed. Let's rescue them. We're here to give them what they don't have. Instead, at TE, young people already have brilliance. They already have the voice. They already have the right analysis to be the leaders that they need to be. And our role is not to save them. Our role is to create space, build skill, and shift systems alongside them. That's what we do at TE. They lead, we partner. We're going to do a quick interactive, and it's gonna land probably flat after our first game. I learned that you guys don't like using your voice very often. But this interactive is name shout. Somebody say name shout. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to say your name on the count of 3 loud enough that the people on this side will hear it. You all will say your name at the same time on this side so that they can hear it, okay? The job is say your name loud enough that somebody else can hear you. And we want to know if you're going to be able to retain the names that you hear. Can you do it? Are y'all woke? Absolutely. Come on. If you can't say nothing else, you can say your name, right? All right. Here we go. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. That was all right. That was pretty good. That was like in concert. It wasn't harmony, okay? I heard no sopranos, no tenors. Just everybody was alto. But let's try it again. One more time, okay? Let's say your name one more time, and we're going to try to hear it again. 1, 2, 3. How many of you caught a name in that moment? Anybody? Yeah, did you catch a name? You caught your name, right? I know my name, and when I shouted, that's the only name that I caught. That's how past allyship actually was working. Everyone saying something, no one retaining anything. Everyone shouting, everyone has a voice, but nobody making a real plan for real movement. Because if we are all talking, no one's listening. No one's pausing to actually say what you're saying actually matters to me. And so I'm not retaining anything. I'm just giving you a space to say what you need to say. So we hear about injustice, but we're not retaining it. We listen, but we're not internalizing it. And then we agree that there's an issue, but we don't move. Teen empowerment trains youth to not only speak, but to listen deeply, facilitate uncomfortable dialogue, and hold space for tension. Because systemic change requires disciplined listening, not just emotional reaction. And here's something that we don't say often. You cannot ask young people to fix systems that harm them without first addressing the harm. We often celebrate and praise resilient youth from marginalized communities without asking why they had to be resilient in the first place. So at Teen Empowerment, healing is not just this side throwaway conversation. It is central. We make space for emotional intelligence, for trauma-informed care, for identity affirmation, for a space to heal, because healed leaders don't just react, they respond. And when they respond with vision, with a plan, with strategy. And leadership that is going to last must be rooted in wholeness, because leadership without healing will burn out. Leadership with healing will bring about sustainable change. Teen empowerment develops skills that opens doors, like public speaking, facilitation, conflict resolution, critical analysis, civic engagement. These young leaders in this room that we have brought with Teen Empowerment, they are from Teen Empowerment, they are able to navigate tension without violence, confront injustice without hatred. I can be honest about how I feel without hating someone else in the process. We move from protest to policy because awareness without access is exhausting, and access is what changes systems. And if you have access, privilege, networks, institutional empowerment, real partnership will look like inviting youth into rooms before decisions are finalized. Funding long-term leadership development, not short-term optics. Listening without defending. Examining how institutional norms reproduce inequity, and being willing to change policy, not just posture. It sounds like this: I'm willing to be challenged. I'm willing to examine my advantage. I'm willing to share my power. Anything less than that is comfort disguised as compassion. Success is not service hours logged. I'm going to go volunteer in the hood, and now I'm successful. I'm going to go into those troubled schools, and I'm going to tutor for free. Now I'm successful. Service is not the panels we attend. That success is not that. And this is going to be a great panel today. My godfather is on that panel. She said, I got 10 minutes left. I got to hurry up. This is like a real sermon. They do the same thing at church. They'd be like, all right, it's time for you to shut up, man of God. I'm almost there. Social media statements being reposted, that's not success. Success is policies examined, budgets questioned, access expanded, and leadership sustained. Teen empowerment measured success not only by participation, but by leadership assumed and futures expanded. So when these kids leave teen empowerment, we don't want them to say, well, I was a part of teen empowerment. We want to be able to look and say, wow, they were a part of teen empowerment. Programs will end, but it is leadership that will reshape institutions. In closing, if we go beyond service when we stop asking people to clean up messes they didn't create, and start equipping them and partnering with them to redesign the systems that produced those messes. The question is not whether or not people are ready. The question is whether we are ready to move from empathy to accountability, from allyship to shared power, from service to systemic change. Dr. King did not march for moments, he organized for generations. And service projects may last a day, programs may last a season, but the beloved community is built over a lifetime. And we measure success not only by participation, but by confidence gained, leadership assumed, systems questioned, futures expanded, because justice is not an event, it is a commitment. And the beloved community will not be built by comfort. It will be built by courageous, informed, disciplined leadership like those of you in this room right now. This is where I stop talking. I stopped talking about partnership. I stopped telling you what allyship looks like. And I start asking you for it. If you have access, resources, influence, decision-making power, we don't need you to save our youth because they are not broken. We need you to share your power. Share your influence. The future does not need more volunteers alone. It needs courageous leaders willing to tell the truth, share the power, and build something better. And I say to you, you all are in this room today. Thank you.